Today I'm taking you through my 8 steps on how to write a book. These steps will take you from point A, I have a story idea, to point Z, I'm now ready to be published. Step number 1, create a space and a schedule. If you don't already have a designated working space, create one. It can be as comfortable as your bed or maybe a little more public at your local coffee shop. Personally, I need a comfortable chair, a hard working surface for my laptop, and some privacy. Set your schedule. If you're serious about writing a book to completion, you'll need to set a writing schedule. Whether you only have 1 hour in a day or 5 hours in a day, put it on your calendar and write. It's a meeting with yourself, get it done. Step number 2, the creative info dumping process. Maybe you call it a brain dump or brainstorming or thought dumping or verbal diarrhea. People call it that, right? This is where you've already been hit with your inspiration, maybe you've jotted down a few notes, and now you need to build upon what you have started. Personally, I like to use a spiral notebook and a pen, and I jot down as many ideas as I possibly can. If I'm not at home and I don't have anything to write down on, I just go straight to the Notes app in my iPhone. You could also use the voice recorder. This is where it gets really fun. You can write down all of your characters, you can write down where they live, what they look like, you can write what the local government is all about, you can write what kind of religion they practice. Who cares if you actually get a lot of these details into your novel? It's important that you know what's going on in your own world that you're creating. If you get stuck along this thought dumping process, think of a conflict. What's the worst possible thing that could happen to your character at any given moment in the book? Whatever comes to mind, dump it out. Step number 3, create an outline. Mapping out your book will better prepare you for potential challenges you might see in the future, like writer's block or plot holes or even just procrastination. If you know where your book is headed, then you're going to be really excited to sit down and write every day. Some key points in your outline that you might want to work on are the hook, the inciting incident, the first plot point, the midpoint, the second plot point, the lost all hope section, the climax, and what I like to call the winding down section. Keep in mind that as you are writing your first draft, your book is probably going to take on a life of its own, and it's okay to modify your outline. It's okay to modify anything because you know what? It's your story. Do what you want. Step number 4, start writing your first draft. Yay! Start with chapter 1 and work chronologically. Remember, this is your first draft and you can throw out all the writing rules just so you can get your story down on paper. Don't put a whole lot of pressure on yourself right now to get the most eloquent words on the page. Just write your story, get it down, you'll edit it later. Along the way, you're probably going to be thinking about various titles for your book. This is great. And I'm going to make a whole video on titling your book, but I'm going to say here that my biggest piece of advice is to not choose a title too soon in the process. Wait till the end or almost nearly done with your book so that you don't write yourself into a corner and are stuck trying to write your story around the title. Step number 5, editing. There's a few ways you can edit, and I like to edit as I go. And then I like to edit some more. After your first draft is done, it's important to do your own self-edits of the book. It's also a great idea at this point to have a critique partner. You can have a critique partner from the very beginning who can help edit your book along the way. They can help make sure that it's flowing and going in the right direction that you want it to. A critique partner should be someone who has an unbiased opinion of your work. After you go through a whole few phases of editing, you're going to be ready for the next step, which is step number 6, beta readers. Your beta readers are test readers. At this point, your book might still suck. I advise against using a beta reader that is a family member or a close friend, as again, they're going to be biased towards your work and may not give you the proper feedback that you're looking for. You can give your beta reader the whole book at once, or you can do chapter by chapter or different chunks of the book at a time. Whatever works best for you. You're then going to supply them with a list of questions. They will give those questions back, and you will again do some more editing based on the beta reader's feedback. A beta reader's main job is to show you where things don't make sense. A beta reader is also not a writer. They're just someone who likes to read, and they like to read the type of book that you wrote in that genre, and they're hopefully in the age group that you have written your book for. Step number 7, hire a professional editor. At this point, you've gone through so many edits on your own, and believe it or not, there's still more editing to be done. A professional editor is a professional writer, and they're going to help you find any grammar that is incorrect, any punctuation that's incorrect. They will cost you a little bit of money, and I would probably recommend budgeting yourself at least $1,000. If you plan to be published, don't skip over this part. It's really important to have a professional look over your book right before you publish. Step number 8, the final reader. The final reader is totally optional. You might just have a friend or a family member or a random person from class read your book for that final validation and confidence that you need to go off and self-publish your book or send it off to a traditional publisher. Congratulations, you've written a book. I'm so excited for you. Thanks for joining me. I'm Lisa Corries. If you like what you see, give my video a thumbs up, go subscribe to my channel, and you can find me on various social media platforms like Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest at Lisa Corries. See you next week. Bye.